Hey everybody, welcome back to the Gamers Vault, and I'm your host, James. Today, we're going to finally talk about the PSP. Now, I already did the video, so I hope you guys enjoy. Toward the end, I wanted to show you guys a 128 gigabyte stick you could be using the PSP, and I wanted to show you that, so I showed you that towards the end, so you may see a clip. It flipped over to that. And what I didn't show at the end, I'm going to show you at the beginning, is an actual emulator. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to show you is there is no UMD, none. See, no UMD. My screen is on, and I'm under game. Soul Eater. This is a Japanese game that only came out in Japan, and it's going to play on our PSP. I'm sorry about the white screen. I don't know why it keeps doing that, but there we go. We should be able to see it now. Without it being white. Alright. Sorry. Oh my god. Alright. Come on. Where's the Bandai? It's in Japanese, guys, so I'm just getting through all the Japanese parts. Here you go. At least try to. When it's white, it's white. Alright. Nah. Sorry, I have to look at the screen, guys. But there you go. There you go. Hacked. So, in my video today, we are going to show you how that was done. And you can do emulators to it. You can put Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega. So if you have those PSPs lying around, they're not doing much. So let's put them to work. Anyway. Also, I wanted to let you know, in my next video, we are getting a sponsor. And I'm going to talk a lot more about that in the next video. So that's going to be really interesting, how that's going to come out. Anyway, you know what? Forget it. Let's just get started. Alright guys, so like I said in my last video, at least my update video, we got a PSP 1000 here. So this is going to be a couple of parts video, and I'm not going to stay on it too long because one of the parts I had to order from China, and let's face fact, when you order from China, you get good deals, but you got to wait a month. So there you go. So with this one, there's one unique problem, and I'm going to turn it on so you guys, ooh, sorry about the movement of the camera. I'm going to turn it on so you guys can see exactly what the problem is for the PSP. I'm going to try to at least. Hold on, I have to put the cover back on. I was taking it half apart so I can show you guys, but it looks like it's going to, there you go. You see the lines here? Really carefully how it turns black, but when it's white you don't see it. So I'm going to turn it off again completely, and it goes out and you can see the dark lines. I'm going to turn it back on, and the dark lines are back. So this shows me that the screen is going bad. So in this video, what we're going to do is we're going to take this PSP apart, and I'm going to replace the screen. Believe it or not, I got a sharp screen going to be replaced on here. I don't know if it's good or bad on it. I got it for a good deal on eBay for like $13. And on top of that, they gave me a whole new front panel, which I don't really care too much. I'm going to put it on here because why not? But I'm going to have a clear panel, and that's going to be done later on in another video. So the first thing you're going to do is we're going to turn this off. I'm going to take this out, take out your battery, and then we're going to go after the screws. There are a total of 6 screws. 7, excuse me, I apologize, 7 screws. There's one here, 2 here, and there's a sticker that goes across here. There's 2 here as well. So it just pretty much says if you pull the sticker, you void the warranty. I somehow doubt Sony's gonna go ahead and fix my PSP, and if they do, it's kind of hilarious. Why would I want them, especially with this PSP 1001 B2 series? there's another screw, one last screw, which is the silver one, which is the last one. It's right here. So what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to keep the video on so you guys can see me unscrew this. It's stupid. So I'm going to unscrew all of these. And if you guys are doing this step by step, you can go ahead and pause my video now and unscrew your device, and then we're going to go from there. So, be right back. Alright everybody, so now that we are exposed, because pretty much after you pop out your screws, you literally just plop that out. See, it's very easy. Just be careful with some of the stuff that's here, because this is your buttons and stuff, and you don't want to mix them up or break them off or whatever. See, this is the stuff that you need. So we're going to put our front panel display to the side. The next part of this video is to show you how to remove this screen. Now, there's a small metal bar that goes across here. What you want to go ahead and do, if you look at the very corner of my metal bar, I'm going to put it back so you can see it. You're going to see really carefully, I'm going to try to do the best I can to show you. There's a little notch, a little belt notch right here, has a little ball in the middle. What you're going to do is you're going to put your finger carefully, right, and you're going to pry it up. Well, I gotta put it to my chest because I can't do it as I show you guys. That's kind of sucks. Now, some people have a pry tool. I don't have a pry tool. I have this, and this is not much of a pry tool. That's okay. What you can do is, once you pry it up, which is what I just did, don't worry about your left triggers. They go in, they just sit on top, so that's not so bad. Anyway, once you do that, you're going to notice that it's going to be loose. Most people put it to the side. Don't do that, because this is a thin cable, and if you snap it, you're just going to have to wait for parts, right? You don't want to wait for parts. There's a brown little tab that you just pull down. Is it pull down or pull out? Let me see. Yeah, it's a brown tab that you pull down. You pull it down towards you. You don't have to use that much pressure. It's like bloop, and it comes right off. And there you go. Then you take your metal bar, you put it to the side. Again, it's very easy. Then, now that you've got that pulled out, what's next, right? You're going to turn it this way, so that way the USB is facing you. Now, again, this thing is sitting kind of like the bar is sitting like. It's sitting on a little angle. If you have anything to pry it up, this is very dangerous. This is a metal tool, the pry tool. I advise you to get plastic pry tools, but for me, I have this for now, but I'm going to try using my finger. You're going to get your finger underneath or on the side here, and you're going to pry it up with your fingers. Very simple, very easy. Don't rush the job. And I apologize if I'm blocking you guys right now. It happens when you're trying to do things at once. So, there we go. Simple and easy. This is a sharp screen, by the way, guys. So it looks like I'm going to be putting back an OEM type of screen for my PSP, which is fine. I might buy another one because for the part it was kind of cheap. Alright, so now that you've got it loose, mind you, I don't really care about the screen too much, especially this one. I'm going to care about it later when I have to put the other one back. But once you got this up, right, this is ready, use your fingers and you slowly pull this away. Now, the reason why I say slowly, there's things in here that you can damage. But the main thing you want, right, is to get your finger on this big metal tab here. Let me see if I bring it over to you guys. Right here, this brown tab, as well as this tab here. And again, you're going to pull it towards you. On this one, you're going to push the small one here. You're going to push it up towards that way. And slowly but surely, just pop it out. There we go. So now the screen is out. See? What's next? Take this screen and toss it to the trash. We already know that that's a bad screen. So here's my new one. Let's take a look. Again, this is a Samsung screen. I'm gonna have to clean it before I put it back in here. Apparently, the person who sold it to me didn't really clean it too well. Doesn't matter. It's easy to clean off. Anyway, and you pretty much are gonna do reverse. You're gonna bend this backwards to the behind the PSP screen, and you're gonna put it back down here. I'm gonna put mine in here, as slowly as I can. Simple. And on this screen, you want to be a little more lenient with. Please forgive me if it takes me a while, but I like to be safe than sorry. So that's one. And did this go in? Wow, this one in too, huh? There you go. Oh no, so I knocked it out of place. But I'm a kind of an idiot. Anyway, alright. Let's push this in here. There we go. And we're in. So then we're just going to push this down like this. And you just push it on the corners. And you're going to feel it pop right in there. Boom. Right? So normally I wouldn't advise to do this, but I'm gonna go ahead and show you just for video's sake if my screen is perfect, right? So I'm going to take our battery. I'm going to put it back in. Take my cover. Again, I'm going to put it back in. What do we got? Perfect! No more black lines, and it looks like a normal PSP. So, there we go. So, the next part of our video, we're going to hack this PSP. Like I said to you earlier, I already have one complete in box. This is the one I'm going to take around with me, and I'm going to show you some pretty cool hacks. So, let's go ahead now to my computer, and let's see it hacked. Alright. So, now that we put our new screen together in our PSP, you want to turn your computer on, and you're going to connect your PSP to your computer using USB. I'm not going to show you exactly how to do it now because we're already connected, but I will show you when we go back and forth to the PSP. So, what's in store? Once it comes up, you're going to see a file system that looks like this. What you're looking for in this file system is this folder right here. But I want to also tell you guys, to do this mod, or custom firmware I should say, you're going to need at least 1 gig of memory. In my current PSP right now, I have a micro SD card that's in a kind of a SanDisk Pro Duo stick. It's kind of modified. I'll leave the links in the description in the bottom below, as well as what you need to download. These are the files we're going to be downloaded. Now, there are 2 custom firmwares. There's LME, and there is Pro, CFW. But honestly, when I looked them up, the Pro is more for like people who want to make apps and stuff like that. I don't really care about making apps, to be completely honest with you. So in this particular case, I'm going to go with LME, and that's how we're going to do it. Anyway, let's get started with the rest. So we're going to go to the PSP, and on these folders here, you're going to go to the one that says game. Now, it's going to be empty, right? Because we just reformatted my stick. This is a 32 gig stick, and it's reformatted. So I'm going to go ahead, select all, and put them into my PSP. And the PSP has, I think it's like a 2.0 or whatever USB port. It don't matter. It's not going to be a lot of big files that needs to get through, but it needs to get done. Once you're done, we're going to right now transfer over to the PSP. I'm going to transfer over to my PSP so you can see this. Please, 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 don't turn off my video. Watch it 100% through. It's not about getting views or whatever the case may be. But if you stop, you risk bricking your PSP, and I'm not responsible if you brick your PSP. So, brick meaning that it turns on, nothing on the screen. It's used as a brick. And the only way to unbrick a PSP 1000, 2000, 3000 is a Pandora battery, which I will be addressing in a future video. Right now, we're not going to address it right now. So let's go to my PSP and let's go ahead and get started. Alright. I'm going to go into my system information on my PSP. I hope you guys can see this as much as you can. And I'm going to show you my PSPs on 6.61. Okay, so now, even though I blocked the information from a MAC address, I'm very peculiar from MAC addresses. I don't want no one to see it, so please forgive me if you take offense. USB connection is what you use to connect to the computer, so I hope you guys understand that. So let me go ahead and give you a good zoom here. There we go. Alright, sorry about that. I wanted to get you guys the best viewing possible. Alright, so I'm going to go down left to where it says game. As you can see, my space is 30 gigs. Told you, that little adapter, I got to show you guys. You'll see in my video below, but it's going to be really cool to get that. You're going to see 3 files. This one, ignore. You don't need it right now. You've got the installer and then the launcher. And then we're going to do with these in a minute. The first thing we're going to do is install. Okay, as you can see, it's going to be launching the software. As I'm going to ask you, press these 2 buttons up here on the top two left and right buttons to uninstall modules, but we don't want to do that, and then press X to install the modules. Pretty much we're going to load the software. We're going to preload it into the PSP. Update's done, so we're going to restart in 6 seconds. Okay. Now we're not custom firmware just yet, so I'm going to tell you why. We just install the modules to load. Now we're going to go ahead and tell the PSP to load the modules that it sees. So now that we're at installer for 6.61, we're going to launcher for 6.61. And by the way, just to give you guys this little piece of information, 6.61 is the original firmware that Sony has released and is the last firmware that I have released for the PSP. You can only guess why. So we're going to do the launcher. Sorry for the momentary silences, guys, but not much to tell you once it gets to this point. You did nothing wrong. I did nothing wrong. So I'm going to show you. Give me a second, guys. I'm going to show you that it is on the right software, and I keep forgetting where the settings are. There we go. Coming up now. There we go. So the PSP right now is on LME 2.3. Technically, we are custom firmware. You can do whatever you want. Here's the problem now. If I was to pull the battery out of the PSP, what would happen is it would go back to normal settings. We don't want that. We want to build something that will stay permanently. Mind you, like I said to you earlier in the video when I was placing the screen, I already have a PSP that's on original firmware. I don't care about this as much. So, what do we do next? We're going to go to something called Infinity Firmware Builder, which is the next one there. So, we'll go down. And I'm going to tell you what's going to happen next. It's actually some pretty interesting things. I'm going to tell you a lot about this. I like to keep it up like this and give you guys some. Okay. Build hybrid firmware. Now, what it's doing is this. In those 2 folders, one of them is an Infinity folder, which is Infinity being that it belongs to a designer named Davies. He went ahead and made all the custom firmwares, which is great. You know, he made this firmware for this PSP, which would entail that if I pull the battery out of my PSP, it will not downgrade itself back to the original firmware. So what it's doing is it's building a firmware behind the LME, and it's doing it on two original firmwares. It's doing it on 6.31 and 6.61. You're probably asking yourselves, what the hell are you talking about? I'm going to tell you exactly what it is. So both of these came directly from Sony, and each one has a security flaw. And when you use the PSP, you are exploiting that flaw, so you can use it to do emulators and ROMs and different games and that, all sorts of stuff. I'm not going to get into it all through at once. A lot of things. So what I'm telling the PSP is to take those two original firmwares and make my own custom firmware unique to the PSP itself. That's basically what's happening right now. So once this is done, we are going to go back to my computer, because we're going to need to move a file. Because after this is built, it's not going to put the file the way it's supposed to go. It needs to be moved to a specific folder, and it's not going to do that here. So it's a lot of back and forth with the PSP. So once it's done, we're going to jump back into the PSP, and I'm going to show you where the files to be removed. This process can take about up to 10 minutes. That's the main process. I'm halfway done now, so I will see you guys back at my computer. Alright guys, we're back at my computer. So the next thing we're going to do is go back into the folders again. So we're going to go here, back into game data, and go into Maker. And what we're looking for in Maker is the data.fmc file, this right here. So we need to move this file. We're going to go into PSP, Game, and into Flasher. And I'm going to drop it there. Now we go into Flasher. We're going to double check to make sure the data.fmc folder is there, as well as the eboot ppp, which is always there. Now we're going to go back into the PSP, and we're going to go ahead and take the rest of this video into the PSP now. So, see you guys back there. Alright everybody, so we're back at our PSP. We're going to go back to Select, and we're going to go into, sorry about this, Firmware Flasher, right? Because we are already done with all the other stuff, so Firmware Flasher. And we're going to start. Now the agreement here pretty much says this is a free software. If you brick your PSP, that is your problem. We're going to say okay, because we don't care. Because not that we don't care. Let me fix myself. We do care. We just don't. We understand what's going to happen. We know what we're doing. All right. So what is it going on now? Now, it's doing the flash for Infinity, and it's like a base program that we need to turn on. Because I'm going to put you guys like this. The PSP is going to deflash itself. Remember I showed you that was at flash already at LME 2.3. Yeah, it's going to deflash itself. So what we're going to wind up doing is reflashing it again with LME, but this time you're going to see the Infinity signal. Instead of, if you see it by 6.61 and it was just LME, no, now it's going to say 6.61 Infinity. Once that's installed, we're going to reflash it. But when we reflash it, guess what? This time, no matter what you do, if you unplug the battery, if the battery dies, or what, it will always be back to normal. Alright guys, we are back. It is saying we're finished, so we're going to hit exit, and it's going to reboot the PSP. Again, you will become deflashed. So, just to give you a heads up. Why would you do the first one in the first place? So that way you can make sure to confirm that your PSP can be flashed. So, there you go. Now, this screen here, do not freak out. It's saying, oh my god, you're setting... Excuse my language. Please, reboot yourself. So we're going to say, okay, whatever. Hit the circle button, and then it's going to shut itself down and restart. If it goes like this in the black screen, do not freak out. It'll come up. So it's going to ask you all your information again. All the information. I'm going to put the time and everything in later. I don't really care about it right now. So sorry about this, guys. I have to tell it to do whatever. There we go. So we're back to normal, right? No, I'm going to show you why. Give me a second. We're back to infinity and beyond. No, it's 6.61 infinity, which is what we're looking for. So, what do we do now? What are we going to do now? Now that the LME is gone. We're not done yet. We can't be done. So, what do? We're going to go back to LME installer. And we're going to hit OK. And we're going to install our modules again. Hit X to install our modules, and then of course it's going to install it really quickly, and then it's going to say I'm going to reboot, which is exactly what we want. Not reboot, it's going to restart itself. Rebooting means that it's going to shut itself off and turn itself on. Restarting itself, it still keeps itself on, but it's like on a safe mode kinda. So now that we're done there, we're going to go back down. Now that we've loaded the installer, we need to launch the installer. And it does it really quickly, and then it's going to shut itself off again. Alright guys, so now we're at that point where it's now saying LME Infinity 6.1. Thanks, I appreciate it, but we're not done yet. We want to make this permanent. So when I shut this bad boy down and come back on, I don't want to hear it. So we're going to go down to Infinity Boot Configurator, because we already did the firmware flasher, and we already built it, so Infinity Boot Configurator. Now, you're going to see this sign here. You're going to make your PSP go to the left. It's going to say, okay, which modules do you want to install? Okay, in case you haven't said, if I haven't said it enough for you guys, it's LME, Light Medium Edition. Not Pro CFW. Now, you can get the Pro CFW. You can download that anywhere you want. But in this particular case, we're doing the ME. Custom configuration. We're going to hit X. That little asterisk is going to go on the corner there. And then we're going to go back. Excuse me, I'm so sorry, guys. And we're going to go back to the menu. I should say menu. Yes, I want to quit. Now that we're back, we are definitely permanently custom firmware. You like that kind of subtlety? Anyway, custom firmware. So how do we know this, right? I'm going to get out of that. We're going to go on here. And we're going to go to our settings, which I keep passing every time. So I want to shoot myself. And I'm going to show you. Again, I'm a stickler for the MAC address, guys. I'm sorry, but that's the truth. I'm going to show you what it looks like. There it is. 6.61 LME Infinity. Now, you're probably saying to yourself, okay, are you really truly custom firmware without losing the battery? Good question. So I'm going to, while live, I'm going to pull you back out. This is a project later on, guys. This is what I'm working on, so I'm not going to show you all of it. So I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to go back to my PSP, and we're going to pull the battery out. Why are we doing this? Why are we pulling the battery out? Like any other piece of electronic equipment, your computer or your PC or anything, even though you turned it off, there is still power going through it. Even if you touch the power on here, it's still power going through it. You want it to be truly off. So, you gotta pull the battery out. Now that we did that, I'm gonna put the battery back in. And we're gonna turn it on. And I'm gonna show you again my settings, so don't think I'm not. Alright guys, we are back, and I reset it, or I pulled the battery out like I promised, and we are on 6.661 LME 2.3. So there you go. I also, while I was away, when I pulled the battery out, I thought it would be cool to show you guys this. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I also have this reading a 256 gig SD card. There you go. So it's 124 gigs free, and the reason why for that I put the flasher software down here as well. Just in case if you guys are wondering what that file is, the Chrono Switch Downgrader, all it does is takes out everything we've done. That's all it does. So I hope you guys found this video entertaining or educational. If you do like it, thumbs up. Leave some comments down below. Tell me what you think, what I should have done, what would you like to see, and yeah, it's gonna be great. See you guys next time in the vault. Take care.